invitation. Good evening to your viewers.
So after months of infighting, you are now the chosen leader of the organization. How are things going at SASCOC? Is everyone singing from the proverbial same hymn book?
More than the hymn book, it's now called a song book because it's about taking South Africa forward. The board has been elected by the membership of SASCOC, and this board, I can say without any doubt, is working as a singular unit to take this organization forward.
All right, now let's talk about COVID. You know, it really has had such a huge impact on sports, on events, and we look at the rescheduling of the Olympics. We'd like to find out just what has been the cost of postponing the Olympic Games, because, you know, these games also serve as some sort of a financial gain. So just in terms of postponing the Olympics, how has SASCOC suffered financially?
No, SASCOC hasn't suffered at all from the devastation of COVID, other than the loss of our personal friends and families, and all the other family members. And I give my condolences on behalf of the organization to all the people in South Africa that have lost members. But in terms of finance, no, we've not lost. The city of Tokyo will still be providing us with funding when the games commence. And the IOC, and thanks goodness to the fact that they have reserves, have still been able to furnish us with funding in December that has enabled the organization to carry on with its work.
But would you then say that just in terms of the loss of income, the potential gain that you would have gained by going to the Olympics, that could be seen as some sort of a financial strain which SASCOC had to take?
You won't believe, Polly, that since our election, just last week, I've signed a major sponsorship deal over the next 4 years that will be equivalent to 36 million. And next week, probably we'll sign with another major brand to the tune of 11 million. So SASCOC is moving to a better place. And simply because we have a new board, and because sponsors believe that this board can take the organization forward. Now we need to focus on the services that we provide to our athletes and the services and support that we can provide to our federations as well.
And let's just, are you able maybe to give us a little more details about those sponsorships? Because, I mean, this is fantastic news. Everyone, you can't give us that little piece of meat and now take it away.
I can give that little bit of enticement, yes, and then you'll have to wait, like all of us, until the sponsors decide to make the official launch.
All right. And you spoke about federations right now. I want us to look at that as well, especially looking at the impact of COVID. Has SASCOC been in a position to help these federations, you know, because we know that the training has been disrupted. We know that they haven't been able to participate in many of the events. How has SASCOC lended a helping hand?
Well, let's just take a simple case. There's a dam in Tshwane that has been overrun with weeds, and the South African Olympic team hasn't been able to row on that particular dam. So we have been in contact and tried to assist with the various departments to ensure that that dam is cleaned to the cost of, I think, about 20 to 60 million, simply because the work wasn't done before. But we've enabled to help the rowers to move to a new dam. And I want to thank the president of rowing, Sean Carr, and their management to make sure that the rowers weren't more severely impacted. And then, of course, we have a potential medal winner in Bianca, our surfer, who was unable to even walk onto the beach to go and surf in the last few weeks. And finally, she's now able to do that. So we are trying to work with all the federations to make sure that they adhere to the COVID regulations, but we've got to ensure that they still train.
Mr. Hendricks, can you also maybe give us more examples of these federations, because people are talking about accountability, can we know the names? Can we know the financial contributions that have gone to athletes? Because really they have suffered during this pandemic.
Well, the sad thing is that we had to stop what we call the OPEX program last year, October, where we actually provided funding for the athletes. And at the last board meeting on last week, Friday, we've decided to check and to rediscover and reaffirm what sort of service we can provide to the athletes as part of this OPEX program. And we've got to take into account those athletes that can afford not to receive OPEX funding, and those athletes who are desperate for the OPEX funding. And we've given that to one of our commissions. And by the way, on Friday at our board meeting, we tried to get all our commissions who do the actual groundwork to be structured, because names were forwarded by the various federations to those commissions, such as finance, such as high performance, gender commission. And we now will look forward to those commissions doing their work to further help us. In fact, even the fundraising, marketing and communications commission, which can raise further funding. So there's a whole host of new exciting things that SASCOC's board will be going into now that we've now moved forward in terms of restructuring ourselves with our commissions and then plotting our way forward with our new strategic plan.
And just in terms of the Olympics, Japan and the IOC, they seem very optimistic that they'll be able to stage this showpiece later this year. Are you of the belief as SASCOC that the Northern Hemisphere Summer will hold this event?
Yes. As in the past, we believe that the IOC carries out their function in the most responsible of manners. We believe that the Japanese government will carry out their responsibilities and the city of Tokyo in the most responsible of manners. And we will follow their advice, and we wait continuously for their reports and their input. But at this stage, it's all systems go. And we are encouraging our athletes to continue training.
And when you say it's all systems go, when we look at vaccinations, how far back in the line are the athletes if you as SASCOC REN decide that you will actually take part in the Olympics?
Well, we have to be extremely sensitive when it comes to an issue of vaccinations, because there are several persons in this country that require vaccinations. And people like myself are definitely not in the higher risk categories, and some of the athletes are definitely not in the higher risk categories. But then one must take into account what the criteria will be to enter into Japan when the time comes, as well as the fact that the International Olympic Committee have committed to vaccinate all the athletes around the world, including South African athletes, as well as the whole of the team, including on top of that 2 further vaccinations for the community for free. And we will be engaging with government to make sure that before we go to Japan, that we will not be any risk to the Japanese public, so that we can, and our athletes will be vaccinated at no cost, provided by the International Olympic Committee.
All right. And just maybe to wrap it up, let's just talk about the bid that SASCOC has submitted for the International Paralympic Committee Congress to be staged in Durban this December. I mean, the importance of this, we understand that Kigali, one of the cities that are also in the running for this bid.
I must congratulate SABC for getting the heads up on this one, because we haven't made the official announcement. The bid just went in last night. Yes, we are bidding for the International Paralympic Committee's Congress in the city of eThekwini with the support of the KwaZulu-Natal province. We hope that we're going to get this bid because it's going to be an exciting event to bring the Paralympic, international Paralympic fold to this country in December. And we simply look forward and we hope that we're going to win this bid because it's of so much importance for the tourism to enhance ourselves as the country that can once again host international events. So keep your fingers crossed, and all your viewers, keep your fingers crossed and help us pray that we win this as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for sharing those insights. And of course, that was the SASCOC President, Mr. Barry Hendricks, talking about a number of issues that the South African sports mother body has had to deal with. That's where we'll leave it for now from the sports desk. Up next is your weather update.